Okay, in this video I'm going to be solving a polynomial equation by factoring. It's going to be like examples numbers 3 and 4 on your classwork. Okay, so if I look, I have terms on both sides of the equal sign. In order to solve by factoring, I need to make either side equal to 0. The way I like to do this, there's no right or wrong way. You can move this stuff over here, you can move this stuff over here. But the way I like to do it is to look at my biggest exponent, which is to the third, and I want that term to be positive, otherwise I have to factor out a negative. So if I look right now, it's not a positive. That means I want to move it to the other side to make it positive. Sorry about that. That determines I'm going to move this stuff to try and make it positive. Okay, so bringing down the equal sign, and you want to put it in standard form, which means biggest exponent to smallest exponent. So to the third should be first. So I have to get that to the other side, so this term I'm getting to the other side, so you need to do the opposite, add it over. After the third should come the square term. So if I look at the square term, it's already on this side, so I just bring it down. Then I need to put x to the first next. It is on the other side. It is positive right here, so to move it across the equal sign, you need to subtract it. And then my constant term, the term without a variable. It's already on this side, so I bring it down. Okay, so I move both of these terms to the other side, so I now have 0 right there. Okay, now if you notice, you have 1, 2, 3, 4 terms. Anytime you have 4 terms, you're going to try the grouping method. Okay, so for 4 terms, I'm always going to try grouping. Group the first 2, group the last 2. So now I need to figure out what number goes into 25 and 100, the greatest common factor. So if I think about the biggest number that goes into both, it's 25. Then I also look at my variables. They both have a variable, and the most I can take from both of them is x to the second. I couldn't take any more from that because it doesn't have any more. So I'm going to be dividing by x squared on that term. So let's go ahead and just do that. Keep on that line of thinking. So factoring out 25x squared. So that means divide, so 25 divided by 25 is 1. X to the third divided by x to the second, or subtracting the exponents, is x to the first. Then I move over to the next term. Negative 100 divided by 25 is negative 4. X squared divided by x squared cancel, or I have no x's left. Okay, moving over to the second set of my second group. If I look, nothing goes into these two. When nothing goes into the two terms, you're going to use 1. And if your first one's negative, you need to factor out that negative. So factoring out a negative 1 is going to leave me with negative x divided by negative 1 is positive x. Positive 4 divided by negative 1 is minus 4. So notice I have 1x and I have x. That's kind of the same thing. We don't write the 1, but it's really there. Okay, so if I look, I have a match. So what I'm going to do is factor the match out. So x minus 4, I'm going to factor that out from this and this. That's going to leave me with that 25x squared and the minus 1. So now, if I notice, this one, I can already start solving it. This one, it has a square, so I may be able to factor it. Here's the checklist. If there's a minus, and these are perfect squares, you can keep going. So let's keep going. Other than that, you would have to set it equal to 0 and just solve it. So we're going to factor this into 2 factors. What times what is that first term? 5x times 5x. What times what is negative 1? Positive 1 times negative 1. Now it's all x to the first, so I can set them equal to 0. Okay, and you can kind of do this part in your head. Add 4 to both sides, x equals 4. Subtract 1, 5x equals negative 1. Divide by 5, x equals negative 1/5. Add 1, divide by 5, x equals 1/5. So if I want to write that all together as just with using 1x, I would say 4, comma, negative 1/5, comma, 1/5. Or you can just leave it as separate answers.